Good morning, this is Joel Phillips from New Western Acquisitions in Sherman Bridge Lending. Today I'm going to do a quick video on construction cost. This is probably the bane of my existence as a wholesaler because everybody that I talk to has their own idea of what construction should cost, especially out-of-state buyers because they're not familiar with our labor cost and things of that nature. So what I'm going to go over is a quick overview of how we actually analyze construction costs on houses and maybe how you should do it here in San Antonio. Now these prices are only applicable to San Antonio, as you know, we're not talking about Dallas markets or Houston markets. So anyways, let's just jump right in and we're just going to do a quick generalization, a quick class on this. So the first thing we do is we look over the big five. The big five are foundation, plumbing, AC, roof, and electrical. Those are the main things you want to check. Cosmetic rehabs, they're easy, but if you mess up on one of these major items, one, your home won't pass inspection, two, it'll hold up the buying process, and three, it'll probably cost you a little more money than you had anticipated. But don't worry, I'm actually going to save you a little bit, and we're going to talk about that a little later. So, with foundation, plumbing, AC, roof, and electrical, if the house is 150 grand or below, it usually costs about $5,000. Usually a house is around 1,500 to 2,000 square feet. You know, it's fairly basic. It's not a $300,000 house. So usually you can get by with spending about $5 grand on any one of these items to replace them or fix them completely. And that's both for pier and beam and slab foundations depending. Now, obviously that's just kind of my rule that I use to make sure I don't get in any trouble when I'm looking at a house and I might forget something. But the first thing I do when I do go into a house is I look for these 5 things and I make sure they're in working order. The next thing, when I'm looking at a house, I figure out what the ARV is going to be. For us, we provide the ARVs, we provide the comps too. So I look at the ARV, and if it's 0 to 50K, I know I'm doing a low-end rehab. If it's 50 to 150, I know I'm doing a medium rehab, and if it's 150 to 500, I know I'm doing a high-end rehab. For the low and mediums, I use $10 a square foot on my cosmetic side. So anything cosmetic, I just do $10 a square foot. That usually saves you. For high-end, I use anywhere from 20. I might even go as high as 25 if I'm approaching this upper echelon of houses. So what we're also going to talk about too while I'm on this is low, medium, high. What does that exactly mean? Well, low is like your thin 8mm laminate flooring, your peel and stick tile, your dollar tile, you know, your lower grade materials. Formica is another one, doing a heavy orange peel so you don't have to waste a lot of labor costs on actually scraping down and retexturing the walls. Medium is like your granites, you're scraping the popcorn off the ceilings, you're laying a little bit higher in tile or maybe a different pattern. And your high is going all out with marble, doing no texture and, you know, just kind of skimming the walls and painting with higher end quality paint products and things of that nature. Okay, so for your contractor bids, the first thing you want to do is you want to find out the scope of work. You want to know the items included. That's a big one. Tons of contractors will underbid a job and then they'll say, well, why didn't you do this, or why didn't you do this for the wall? Well, I didn't include that on my bid. So a lot of arguing with contractors over that. So it might as well just be extremely, extremely literal in what you want to happen to the house. Also, you want to check for references. You want to know the timeline of the job, and you want to know the payment schedule for that job, and possibly the repercussions. Hey, if you don't get this done in this time, what am I going to do? This is what I'm going to do. Contractors make money by basically putting stuff in the bid. So they're going to bid for the materials, and they're going to bid for the labor, but on each labor, which generally a laborer here in San Antonio runs anywhere from 100 to 200 depending on their skill, they're going to say, oh, well, I have 3 workers and they cost $100 a day. Well, now it's $150. I'm going to charge you 20% to go get the materials and bring them back. I'm tacking on, if the granite's $1,000, now it's $1,200. That's how they make their money. They don't just set a general contracting fee over to the side and say, okay, this job is $5,000, I'm going to charge you $8,000. That's not how it works. All their money is buried within their bid. Okay, so the other thing we're going to go over, now that we talked about contractors and how they make money, is how I do houses as far as what I set aside for emergency money. For 150 or below, I set aside $5K, like we talked about up here. That usually covers anything you might have missed. Whether it's a plumbing problem, an AC problem, a roof problem, electrical, and usually it'll cover a complete repair, not just a patch. And if there's any left over, hey, great. For 150 or above, I add 10K. And that's usually a bigger house, better material, so you just got to go up a little bit. And like I said, this is my just-in-case money. You can put that money into somewhere, some other part of the house, or you can just pocket it and, know that you're going to make a little extra profit. Just so you know kind of what prices run here, I've just got a couple of quick examples. Drywall costs anywhere from $25 to $35 to completely hang it and finish it out with the 3 coats of mud and sanding it down and everything like that. Granite is anywhere from $28 to $35 a square foot installed, and tile is anywhere from $1 to $4 for the material and $1 to $4 for the labor, depending on if you're laying it in a brick pattern or you're staggering it and doing other things like that. Another real quick thing I want to go over is a breakdown of areas in the house. I'm not a numbers cruncher guy. I don't go in there and say, oh, this window's cracked, I need to allot $50 for new glass. I break it down by kitchens, beds, baths, etc., hallway, exterior, interior. That's how I like to break the houses down, because it's just so time consuming and properties sell so quickly that it's hard to go in there and annotate every little thing you see wrong. You need to do this quick so you're able to get the house. And if you have a general rough overview, then you know, hey, what I can spend. And then the last thing I want to talk about is, when I go into a house, I look at it and I think of all the cool stuff I could do to it. Okay, I want to put granite here. I want to take out this wall and I want to do that. And I want to do all new windows and things of that nature. Well, what ends up happening is, if you were to do that on a house, you probably wouldn't get the house. I mean, there's other investors that can do things cheaper than you. Maybe they're more expensive, and maybe they just don't care, so they can buy at a higher price. So to really, if you're looking to invest in real estate as a career or as a hobby that you do a lot, you're going to have to bite the bullet sometime and pay up for houses. It just happens. So what I do is, once I have a list of everything I want to do to the house, I see, okay, well, you know what, the windows are pretty new. I can go ahead and just replace the glass. The flooring actually looks pretty good. Maybe I can resurface that, or maybe I can keep the drywall in one of the bedrooms because there's a small hole and I can just patch it. You really got to go in there and whittle away that list and then kind of figure out, okay, is this doable and will this house sell quickly? And that's not something I can really give you advice on at this point because we're not looking at a house. But just know that you can't go into a house and fix everything. You're going to have to figure out what you need to fix for how it's going to sell, basically. And I always say material and time versus return on investment. If you're not going to get a high return on investment, changing out frosted glass blocks in the bathroom, it might just be cheaper to keep it. And I don't think any buyer is going to go in there and say, oh, I was going to buy that house, but that glass block, I just don't like it. Heck, they'll probably just replace it themselves anyways. So anyways, that's just a quick, or actually it was kind of a long breakdown of construction. If you have any other questions, just give me a call. My number's below. And also, I want to plug Sherman Bridge Lending real quick. We do different types of hard money loans, and we're a success-based lender, so we can definitely help you out getting you into flips or rentals. Thank you.